This is Pixelated Audio, episode 138, Aworg, Hero in the Sky.
All right, welcome back to Pixelated Audio, a podcast focusing on game audio, its history, and the people behind it. We're your hosts. I'm Brian, and this is Gene.
Hey, everybody. We're going to be talking about Aworg, Hero in the Sky, which is a Sega Meganet game for the Mega Drive, and we'll talk more about that later. But in the meantime, the track that brought us in was the title theme.
Yes, this is a really cool track. It makes use of the both the chips in the Genesis from the Mega Drive, the Sega PSG, and the YM2612, and the little twinkly kind of arpeggio is going on the PSG. It's really cool sounding, and then it has this like dancey, like whoosh, like almost like a reverse snare or a reverse cymbal on the PSG as well. It's really awesome.
Definitely, and some great organ sounds there from the FM. Definitely a grooving track, very classic 1991 piano house. A favorite kind of style.
So we're kind of on this kick right now for doing a bunch of little short episodes just because I don't know, it feels right now. And so, Gene, you've been wanting to do this one for a little while. Why'd you pick this?
Well, everybody loves Yuzo Koshiro and Streets of Rage, and, you know, it's great music. I love it, but I wanted something a little different. I wanted to pick something that people hadn't heard of, and in particular, we've been doing this thing where we kind of go pretty far afield and look for stuff in weird places. You know, our last episode was about a budget title for the DS. This one's about a 1991 game for the Sega Meganet, which was an early online service for the Mega Drive, way before the Sega Channel even. Sega was always on the forefront of these things for console games.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But, I mean, the game itself is not that interesting, to be honest. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but it's all about the music for this one.
Right. So, Aworg itself, you mentioned it was a downloaded game for the SegaNet. So, this was developed and published by Sega through their Meganet online service. And it was relatively, a relatively small team that created this.
Yeah, exactly. There was a planner who went by Sunset. I'm not going to say the programmers. There's two of them. We have a designer by the pseudonym of Lucky Star, and the composer went by Bambi, which is kind of an odd one. But they were all Sega staffers, but we weren't able to identify who Bambi was or even find other games with that credit. So I don't know.
And apparently the internet couldn't either, because I looked everywhere, and as much time as we're willing to put in for these shorter episodes, but we did, at least check all of all the boxes that we could, and so Bambi didn't come up. Who knows?
They put together a nice little sweet, short, early 90s soundtrack, and we're going to acknowledge them for it. And, Bambi, wherever you are, you're doing great work, or you did great work, and hopefully you're still doing it today.
So let's get into our next track here. This is How to Play Aworg, composed by Bambi for Sega Meganet.
All right, that was How to Play from Aworg on the Sega Meganet, composed by Bambi.
Short track, really repetitive, but it's fun. It reminded me a lot of Restar. just the bounciness to it and the kind of innocence in the tones. So yeah, I like this.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a nice little groovy track. I mean, the game, again, can be beaten pretty quickly. So if you're watching the how to play video for longer than like 30 seconds, you've probably done something wrong. It is a very strange game, honestly. Like we both watched long plays of it, and it is hard to tell what's actually going on.
Yeah. And it's not really like a good game either, at least from what I watched. This, on this show, like we talk about like the like a lot of different games, and we desperately try as hard as we can to play everything that we talk about, at least to some degree. This one, I gotta say, I didn't touch because I mean, it's not that it looks bad. It's just, first of all, lack of time, and then the other thing was just like, did I need to play it?
Yeah,
probably not.
So let's go ahead and describe the game real quick. You play as a man or woman, I don't know, in a robot suit that can fly around in 8 directions. There's some light physics-based momentum. So if you're flying in one direction, you got to kind of like fire your jets the opposite direction to stop, and you're constantly falling. It's a little bit like Solar Jetman, if anybody's played that. And then you go around collecting these glowing orbs, which you use as keys to open the gates. So some of them have 1, 2, or 3. One of them might open up a gate to another one, and then you collect all of those. Yeah,
it's a pretty classic stereotypical formula for like a lot of games. I mean, collect the key, run through a maze. It just happens to be that you have a jetpack. It could be a top-down view and you in a buggy or something. It would be the same kind of thing. It's convincing that way. So
yeah. The weird thing is, though, there aren't any weapons in this game, so you have 2 kind of actions. Obviously you can fly around, but you have this dash move that you can use for certain enemies, and they kind of blink to see that they're taking damage. Or you can use your jet stream to push things out of your way. So like you have this like stream of little particles that are flying behind you, and sometimes there's like air mines that are blocking your path. So you got to like press the opposite button to push them forward.
Push them forward. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. And I can't say that it looks like it's an easy game to control, but I mean, interesting concept, I guess. Move, blast people with your. It's almost like I can't really say it's like Kirby. It doesn't really work.
Well, it actually works a little bit like the weird jet in Kirby a little bit. Like it's a little funky to control, but it's not really how you'd want an entire game to be built.
Yeah, and it's really strange too, because you have a jetpack, but yet your character moves around with like these like, it almost looks like Uchiwa, like the fans, like
paddles or fans that they use to keep themselves from falling too fast. It's very odd.
Yeah, it's strange.
There's only 10 stages, and the last stage is a boss, which honestly I watched the video of the guy fighting the boss a few times, and I could not figure out what he actually did to beat it and beat the game. But
I couldn't really figure out what the boss actually was. It just looked like the rest of the game. The end part of it.
Yeah, so that's all there is really to say about it. You can watch the speed run.
It sounds like we're kind of dogging on this game. It doesn't look like a horrible game. It's just, I think they took a leap of faith with doing something that was kind of quick and easy for, to be able to be downloaded back in, 91 or whatever, early 90s. So I can see that being a maybe a bonus. Like it's like, okay, I subscribe to this network and I get this free game with it, or whatever, it's $5 or however much it is. And so it's kind of like the App Store or the Android Google Play Store now or whatever. It's like that for this. So
no idea, but all I can say
we have Flappy Bird now. So think about it. Like it's not like we've made a whole lot of progress.
Yeah, I'm not clamoring to play this game anytime soon.
Just got to get Frisbee Ken John on there.
Let's move on to our next track. This is the main BGM tune that plays during the stages.
That was the main background music for Aworg on the Sega Meganet, composed by Bambi.
This one is a fun groove, but it is, it's pretty repetitive. It's definitely...
it doesn't materialize. I like the organs that come in, that nice kind of Rhodesy organ that comes in, but like it just doesn't really do anything with it. It gets all the way there and then it just kind of starts over. So
yeah, I know what you mean. It's like they set up a groove and then they just sort of like let it hang there in the air and they kind of loop it again. But what can you do?
It's still fun. Still a little dance to it. I like it. Yeah,
exactly. So I wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the Sega Meganet, or the Sega game Toshikan. We'll talk about those for a little bit, and then we'll move on to a little bit more music. But it was a online subscription service, and the precursor to the Sega Channel. Ran from late 1990 to about the end of '92. Mostly in Japan, but I believe it did have a release in Brazil, surprisingly. Games were downloaded from the Meganet online service using the Mega Modem peripheral through a phone line, and then games were written onto a rewritable Sega game Toshikan Mega Drive cartridge, and that just means library. So it's essentially, use the ROM on a cartridge to, store your games that you download from the internet, the phone line before the internet. The service wasn't a huge success. There was only about 30 games and 3,000 or so subscribers, so it wasn't huge. But for such an early attempt at console game online services, it was pretty cool. Do you have any experience with this, Brian?
No, not at all. In fact, this is a kind of a black hole for me. Other than playing some of this stuff, through emulation, my cousins were really, really big into Sega Channel. And so I know that very well, but this was just a complete mystery to me. And I didn't hear about it until way later when, ROM dumps were a thing. So
yeah, exactly. And the games that I've found for it have just been sort of mixed in with piles of ROMs. There's nothing really unique about them in the sense of like, it's just a full game. It's like you play it, and I wouldn't have known it was from this service until I started looking into this. And so there were a couple of games, I did want to bring this up, that were initially exclusive for it.
Well, this is an exclusive title, so.
This is, yes. But there were a few others. The home console port of Flicky was originally from here. Fatal Labyrinth, Teddy Boy Blues. Columns was released here, but it also had a cartridge even before. Our favorite game, not really, Kiss Shot, was a Sega Meganet exclusive that we played a track from that some time ago, back in episode 89, or just go on to Project 2612. I don't know, there's not too much else to say other than there is one series of games that were kind of notable on here, the Phantasy Star 2 text adventure games. They were 8 little text adventure games that focus on the main characters of Phantasy Star 2. So if you really want to know what Ney or Amiya were up to before, their inevitable demise, then go read about it. Have fun.
Erotic fan fiction. Straight.
No, not erotic. Very not erotic. Parents that are listening to this. A lot of these games ended up getting re-released on Mega CD. There are a few exclusives, but nothing really too crazy. I mean, this thing wasn't a smash. You're not missing anything. If you really want to download the ROM of like Kiss Shot or the text adventure games, go ahead. They're there for you to find. Yeah. I mean, I've played through a few of them, and to be honest, they're fine. They're fun little games. They're little puzzle games, little action games, little sports games. Nothing you couldn't find in a full title that does it a little bit better.
That's better, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, yeah, so let's get into our next track here. This is from the Boss theme, composed by Bambi for Aworg on the Sega Mega Drive.
That was the boss theme, composed by Bambi for Aworg on the Sega Mega Drive or Sega Meganet service.
Awesome. It's a chuggy little tune. It's cool. It's got like a nice little shuffle there. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. The bass is pretty much the most present thing, but it's got some nice little percussion. I mean, the boss, if you know what you're doing, takes all of about a minute to beat. So, short track, short game, fun times.
Yeah. And so to wrap up today, we covered Aworg, Hero in the Sky, composed by Bambi. That is a game on the Sega Mega Drive, downloaded through the Sega Meganet service.
Exactly. And read more about it in your spare time. It's an interesting little experiment, but we may be getting into some other download exclusive games in the future. We'll see. Anyway, if you want to know more about the show, then check us out online at pixelatedaudio.com for show notes and the track list. And we can also be found on Twitter at pixelatedaudio.
Yes, and you can also find us on Discord. If you've been on Discord before, go to our website, find a link. It'll take you right there. It's a great time chatting with everybody. A lot of feedback, and everybody should make everybody feel welcome. So it's a good place to be. If you like the show, you can leave comments or feedback on the website. Reviews on iTunes, always appreciated.
Absolutely. And if you're new to our podcast, make sure to check out some of our most recent episodes. We did one on Go last episode. 2 episodes ago was Wonderborg, and the one before that was Waterworld. Lots of fun music in the last couple of episodes.
Yeah. And to continue the tradition for the rest of the year that we're planning on doing for these shorter episodes, we have something lined up next, but in the meantime, we have a really cool ending track to leave you off with. This is the ending theme from Aworg, composed by Bambi. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you guys back shortly for the next episode.